What is going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Fantasy Alarm and Bettor Sports Network YouTubes out there. Appreciate everyone jumping in on a Thursday afternoon. Got James Grande with me. I am Dan Servodidio. Got some NBA, some college basketball, and some NHL bets to get to on today's show. What's going on, James? How you doing, man?
Doing well. Happy Thursday. Happy to be here. As I am looking in my background, I see one of my daughter's toys on the ground, so that will be obviously making an appearance here for the entirety of the show. So not just me, sir, but my kids' toys everywhere as well. So
Oh, that's not your
uh,
toys.
we are happy to be here. No, not mine. I mean, technically, I guess all things that are my children's are mine because
Yeah.
I'm the one that purchased them. So technically, I guess you could say that they're mine. I'm just gonna keep my hand right here, so now you can't even see it. So now I'll just have like an awkward hand here for the rest of the day. What's going on? Happy Thursday to you. Very close to the weekend here, my friend.
Yeah, man. We got the NFL season wrapping up this week, NFL Week 18. On tomorrow's show, we'll be breaking out some of our bets and picks and props and all that with Howard. But today, you and me are covering a little bit of everything. No Thursday night football this week. What's up, Britt? Thanks for tuning in. And everyone else that's jumping in here, definitely throw any bets you like for tonight in the chat. Like and subscribe as well on YouTube, on Fantasy Alarm or Bettor Sports Network. But tonight, yeah, we got some NBA that you have some bets out for. I'll give some picks for college basketball tonight. And then our producer, Adam Bernard, will wrap things up with some NHL bets for tonight, Thursday night. Let's start with the NBA. Only a two-game slate. It's the TNT Thursday night schedule here, so a two-gamer. But still some bets I know you got for tonight's game. So what's one of your first? I think your first one you got Nuggets Warriors. You're looking at here for one of your bets.
Yeah, Nuggets Warriors. I like the Nuggets tonight. They haven't been the best road team. They are on the road tonight in Golden State, and that's been a thing that people have stayed away from for a lot of the Steph Curry Warrior era in general because the Warriors have been so good at home. But when you're talking about the Denver Nuggets, they have not spent a lot of time healthy altogether this year. We, saw Jamal Murray miss a large portion of the year. We saw Aaron Gordon miss time earlier in the year. Then recently, the unfortunate run-in with his dog that that hit the headlines where he was bitten by his dog a bunch. We've seen Jokic pretty much play most every game. Michael Porter has been the only starter for the Nuggets to play every game this year. So it's been kind of like the extra run into the postseason kind of carried its weight into this regular season. But I was doing some research today, and amongst all 5-man lineups that have played at least 100 minutes, okay, that at least shared the court at least 100 minutes this year, only 3 5-man lineups have a net rating of over 20. That means they are really, really, really good. The Nuggets are one. The Phoenix Suns are another. The Boston Celtics starting 5 is not even one. It's the Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey led Philly lineup, which I'm sure you're happy about. And the Warriors are just not obviously, that same team this year. When you look at the Warriors at home, they're 5-11 against the spread. They're the third worst home team ATS on the year. I mentioned the Nuggets haven't necessarily been that good on the road. They're just 10-8, but still the 6th best road record in the NBA. And that just goes to show you how good teams have been at home this year in general. But the Nuggets being completely healthy here, going into Golden State, a team that has a lot of question marks about their rotation. They're going younger, but Steve Kerr still played 10 guys last game. I really like the Nuggets to win outright here. I really like the Nuggets to cover here, despite being on the road. This is still your defending champion. This is still a Warriors team that is not figured it out with Klay Thompson struggles and really anyone but Steph and some of the young guys being good, moderately good. I think this could open up in the Nuggets' favor. So with this Nuggets starting five really healthy, and with the Warriors' struggles, ATS at home, give me Denver -3.5 tonight on the road.
Yeah, the Warriors' last game was a couple nights ago, I guess, against the Magic, barely beating the Magic, who have been feisty, have been pretty solid at times, but yeah, that was a home game for Golden State, and just barely getting by Orlando there, and now have to welcome in Denver. I like it. I like the pick here for taking the Nuggets. Not worried about the 3.5. The money line's probably rich, but I do think that that's a good bet. And that's the late night TNT tip tonight. If you want to tune into that, get some money on the Nuggets there. The early one, we got Bucks Spurs. Bucks. I just saw what happened to them with the Pacers last night, right? With Tyrese Haliburton and the Pacers beating them again. That was a very high scoring game, as a lot of Pacers games tend to be, as you've noted on this show. But Bucks get a back-to-back here, right, against the Spurs tonight. That's the early tip tonight. So what do you got going in this one?
Interesting comments from Giannis too after the game. I don't know if you heard that, but Giannis straight up was like, "Yeah, I think about the Pacers when I'm doing the nasty," And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting post game comment." But you know what? I guess whatever helps you, do it. I digress there. But so this is a little bit in the whole narrative around the Bucks today kind of was that Chris Middleton was going to sit. He went into yesterday's game questionable. We knew that there was a back-to-back looming. He has yet to play a back-to-back this year. The yesterday's game obviously meant more, considering the Pacers are in their division, they're in their conference. Like it's a more meaningful game environment. And then Chris Middleton, upon the first injury report for the Bucks, was just not listed at all, just completely off it. And that may have something to do with the fact that this is a nationally televised game, and there's new rules that players do, or teams do have to use guys on back-to-backs if there's not a legitimate injury. And Middleton obviously has legitimate injuries left and right. He has not been the most healthy guy. So I'm confident he's going to play as of right now. And this is a bet that, I think if he plays a full complement of minutes, he is going to hit fairly easily. When you look at Chris Middleton's last stretch of games, okay, the assist totals for Chris Middleton over the last 5 games, 7, 6, 11, 10, 6. The number on tonight's on BetMGM is 5.5. So he's hit that in 100% of his games over his last 5. The team has made kind of a shift where they're playing Damian Lillard off the ball. And if you head over to NBA.com and you look at some of the stats backing this number up, something to quantify how this number would continue to hit is potential assists. Chris Middleton over the last 5 game span, during every game, potential assists per game have been over 10. So
wow.
That's second to Giannis. And, that's a whole different conversation. Giannis has had the last 2 games where he's just been double teamed by Indiana throughout and has led to a lot of assists. Chris Middleton's playing on the ball with Damian Lillard playing off the ball in a lot of situations, and that's led to Chris Middleton assists. So barring Chris Middleton actually being in, which again, right now, there's nothing reporting that he's not. He is not listed on the Bucks injury report. The only injury on the report is Jay Crowder. He's going to play. That means full complement of minutes, assuming, right?
Yeah.
5.5 assists seems like a pretty easy number. I'm going to just throw a caveat out there. There was a recent game for Brooklyn where it's largely in the news. Mikal Bridges started that game, played 12 minutes. A lot of the starters played 12 minutes. They never played again. They were fined today for resting players out of that game. 4 starters didn't play. They were fined for that.
Wow.
They did not fine them for resting Mikal Bridges for 3/4 of the game, which kind of opens the door to, I think, a new sketchy part of teams on like back-to-backs where there's kind of now this loophole where, well, I don't need to rest them fully. I can play them a quarter and then rest them for the rest of the game. And the league is apparently fine with that. That's the only caveat I would say, something that we need to potentially start to look out for, especially with guys like maybe Chris Middleton, who hasn't exactly been healthy over the last few years. But like this number in a full complement of minutes is just too low considering what the Bucks have shifted his role to be. He's playing directly on the ball. Damian Lillard playing off the ball. He's in pick and roll with Giannis a lot. So I love the number. There is just that one iota in the back of my mind that can't get past that reporting that the NBA released today on Brooklyn's, because that was a big deal. Mikal Bridges started that game and then just played 12 minutes and never checked back in. He's a guy, and he did it for an Ironman streak because he's never sat before. He's played every single game in his NBA career. But if they can get away with that, right? If teams can play a player 12 minutes and it doesn't count, they won't get fined, they won't lose any money, then things start maybe being a little sketchier. I didn't mean to like extend that conversation, but I do think it's worth just like mentioning, just moving forward, like when betting NBA in general, because betting NBA is, I think, tough enough where back-to-backs happen and you know how many guys sit and guys are limited and yada, yada, yada. Just throwing it out there. But as of right now, I'm confident that Middleton plays unless there's further reporting on this. But I did want to just also throw that wrinkle in there because, again, NBA betting can be tricky at times. And it's worth mentioning to our listeners and our viewers that, you know, that is a wrinkle that we now have to pay attention to.
That is really interesting because, like these are these nationally televised games that the NBA has kind of made a point over recent years of like, don't rest your starters for the nationally televised game, especially. But overall, they are cracking down on it, as you were saying. But if it's kind of like a gray area. Like if a player does start the game and then he only plays 10, 15 minutes and then sits, it's like, maybe he had a nagging injury that popped up, but like, what is the NBA going to really, what can they really say about that? If he started the game and did play a little bit and then, maybe hits the bench. So interesting.
Just thought I'd throw it out there again. It's worth like giving information out to people that are following your picks
for sure,
your information. And
that's the assumed risk when you're betting on some of these props and games.
Right.
I mean,
right. But again, if he's playing full complement minutes, I mean, we've just seen the shift. Like he is largely playing point guard for this team.
Yeah. It's interesting because there's some apps out there, wherever you're betting, you can do like live player props too.
Right.
And this is an instance where if he does, it's the second half and he didn't even check back in at all for like the second quarter, and you kind of have like what you're saying, you kind of have that inkling, like maybe he's sitting the rest of the game. Maybe just kind of bet the live under on a couple of his props too to kind of make back some of that money. I mean, if you kind of get that vibe, or maybe he dishes out 6 assists in the first quarter while he's playing.
You know how I'll know, and you know how you get an edge live betting. I know the Milwaukee rotation pattern. Okay, Chris Middleton is the early sub. If Chris Middleton plays the whole first quarter,
he's not coming back.
He is not coming back in the game. He plays the first 5 to 6 minutes of each game, checks out, and then checks back in basically for the whole second quarter. I am telling you, if that rotation right away, and that's a way, like you said, to get an edge, right? Like if you see Middleton playing, maybe we do live bet his unders for the rest of the game, just as a added like, well, this is weird. Milwaukee is really good. They wouldn't just suddenly like change this rotation pattern. They've already done that where they were early subbing Dame earlier in the year. Dame had a conversation with his head coach. Dame now plays the whole first quarter. That's just every game. If Middleton plays past that like 5-6 minute mark and we're just playing, that's a great live betting opportunity for his unders, because then I'm fairly confident that this wrinkle that I proposed that could just play itself into like our everyday NBA betting on like back-to-backs and stuff, could rear its ugly head. Maybe some live opportunity there.
And Milwaukee's a team where, Middleton isn't the number 1 or number 2 star on the team. So it's, nationally televised game, big, marquee matchup where it's like Bucks against, Wemby and the Spurs. If they're playing Giannis and Dame the whole game, maybe the NBA does give them a little leniency too on like, all right, you played Middleton for a little bit, but then he's sitting. So, all right, well, keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on whether he subs out in the first quarter or not.
I'm just saying.
That's a really good nugget there for people watching. I mean, that's a really good nugget to know for. And this is the early game on TNT, so if you got that game on and you're watching, just pay attention to what Middleton's doing in that first quarter. All right, then you got one last prop here for back to the late game for Nuggets Warriors.
Yeah, Warriors rookie Brendan Podziemski has obviously burst onto the scene, and he was starting for a little bit, and I'm kind of uncertain why they shifted him back to the bench with how well he was playing. But that's Steve Kerr in a nutshell. Like Steve Kerr really, I don't know if he dislikes playing young players, but they have shorter leashes than other guys. But it hasn't necessarily impacted his minutes. Podziemski over the last 6 games has played 28 plus, has topped out at 34. But when you look at his minutes, in the last 9 games that Podziemski has hit 28 minutes, he has gone over 9.5 points. He has definitely flirted with danger. Half of those have been 10 on the number. But 9 straight games where he's played 28 minutes, he has given us the goods where he's gone over. And the Warriors lost another key member of their guard rotation the other day in Gary Payton II, who had just returned from injury, played 11 minutes, back onto the injury list for an extended period of time, tearing his hamstring. That's more minutes floated to Podziemski off this Warriors bench. And I don't like the matchup isn't great, but when you talk about Denver, it's their starting lineup that is really giving teams issues. And Podziemski now coming off the bench does get to float around, and he's going to play alongside Chris Paul. I talk about rotations again. Like Chris Paul is going to start, but he's the early sub, and he gets to play alongside one of the best passers of all time, and gets to do it against the Denver second unit, which is just, if you've been following the Nuggets for the last couple of years, and especially this year, they don't have any real like depth behind their starting 5. They have a great starting 5 and question marks everywhere else. So I like Podziemski to keep the streak going over 9.5 points, even in kind of a tough spot. Very close spread, much closer than like anything Milwaukee San Antonio, which I would have loved to bet more player props in that Milwaukee San Antonio game. But with Middleton playing and Wemby being limited, it's just sketchy because now it's a 10.5 point spread over there. We know how bad San Antonio is. Milwaukee's one of the best teams in basketball. That game could get out of hand quick. And suddenly it's, second and third stringers in the whole fourth quarter, and you lose out on Giannis props by 2 points or Lillard props by 2 points. So I went Podziemski in a much more competitive setting here to keep the streak going. The minutes aren't going anywhere. The roll isn't going anywhere. And I think this is a surefire over as long as we continue to approach 30 minutes.
I love it. Yeah, Brandon Podziemski was a stud at Santa Clara last year. And for anybody that's a college hoops fan, playing him in, college basketball DFS or betting on Santa Clara with him leading the way, it was him and the year before Jalen Williams for the Thunder was a stud at Santa Clara. So back-to-back years, they got these guys coming out, and he's earned that role. I know they have some absences or whatever for the Warriors, but I do think like he's a guy that's going to be in the league for a good amount. So that's some NBA for Thursday night. We got T Hartley 16 in the chat here. Not sure. I think this is maybe our producer Aaron Bernard can help us out if this is hockey.
That is indeed hockey.
It is hockey. Okay, so he's got Team USA to win the World Junior Cup, I think it is, tomorrow. So,
Yes, that is the World Junior Championships he's
okay.
referring to.
Okay.
And they play Sweden. That's going to be a tough one. Sweden looked good in their semifinal against Czechia. USA had the rally, so we'll see.
So you agree with this? You
Ooh.
like USA to win?
No, I'm saying it's going to be tough. I think Sweden looked real good in the semis.
Okay.
I mean, listen, go Team USA. I mean, they got the momentum there with the win over Finland, but Sweden is nothing to overlook. So we'll see what happens.
Well, it's just un-American to bet against USA in this.
Correct.
I'm not going to bet on
That's why you
Sweden.
don't do it. That's why you don't do it.
I don't even know can you bet on this somewhere? I'm not even sure.
Even if you could,
I'm sure there is. I'm trying to find odds for it now.
Yeah, find it. All right. Well, T. Hartley says grab USA, or just root for them and watch, because why not?
Sure.
All right, some college basketball now. Let's flip to some college hoops because I got some bets here. James, I got the first one here is Memphis and Tulsa. Little AAC matchup here.
Penny Hardaway, right? Is Penny Hardaway still in Memphis?
Penny Hardaway still,
Memphis?
yeah, head coach for the Memphis Tigers here. He's got a really good team, 15th in the country. They are rolling early, have a lot of impressive wins. Looked at them to win this and cover the spread, 9.5. It's a little big for me, though. I'm just going to take the over in this one, though. I think, Memphis plays at the 18th fastest pace in college basketball. They are one of the quickest teams. They love to get up and down. They love to play in transition on offense. They got, a veteran, older team of transfers that just love pushing the pace. Javon Quinterly at the point, David Jones at the two guard and the wing. These guys are really playing well right now, and their offense is clicking. They also got some good secondary playmakers that like to play quick as well. Caleb Mills, Jaquan Walton. So this team plays fast, and they're going to get their points. So I'm not too worried. Even on the road here, I'm not worried about Memphis scoring and doing their part to the over in this one. Their games are 9-4 to the over this year and 6-1 to the over in their last 7 games. But the other side here, I do think Tulsa is just going to, be a little feisty and keep this one and match the pace a little bit that Memphis plays at, because they are 64th in tempo this year is Tulsa. But, on the road for Memphis is where I think their defense is going to just kind of break down a little bit. All 3 of their road games this season have all hit the over, where they've allowed, sometimes 80 plus points. It's been up against some better teams than Tulsa, but I just think that Tulsa is going to, like to match their pace. They're a team that I think prefers to play a little bit quicker. And, are, I think, going to push them to possibly just keep this close. Not saying they're going to win outright or anything, but I do think that they're going to just make Memphis continue scoring throughout. I don't think it's going to be a huge blowout or anything. So Tulsa games over their last 8 are 5-3 to the over as well. So both kind of trends pushing this game to be a little bit higher scoring between Memphis and Tulsa here.
There's 315, right? Division I schools, is that right? So to be 15th in pace is pretty.
It's it's actually more. I think it's about 350 now.
350.
Yeah, D1 teams. So yeah, being top 20 in pace is very notable. Even for Tulsa, being like top 70 in pace. I mean, it's still very much above average. Pace. Yeah, it's kind of a weird. You have to put that in perspective of give out the top. They run at the 64th fastest pace, but that's quick in college basketball. So,
right. All right, let's move on. So these schools have met up a lot in a different sport lately, and I know one of them has owned the other one. One of them still alive in college football.
Yeah.
Does Washington keep rolling through the Ducks? Do they keep stepping on the Ducks here, Servo, this time on the hardwood?
Yeah, in football, Washington has had Oregon's number, and here they are 4.5-point favorites at home for this Pac-12 matchup, and I'm taking Washington to win this and cover the spread here. I'm looking for them to rebound Washington because they're 0-2 to start out Pac-12 play. But now they're back at home because both their losses to start conference play have both come on the road, and they're both against some of the top tier of the conference, Utah and Colorado. Going on the road to play both those teams and how good they've been this year, that's really tough. And I'm not surprised Washington lost both games, but I think they're going to be motivated to, going back home here to get back on the winning trail here. Despite losing both those games, by the way, to start Pac-12 play, they did cover as underdogs both games, and they were both close. Just like 2 possession losses in both games, which is respectable considering it was Utah and Colorado, 2 very good teams, top 25 caliber teams this year, and the road atmospheres too. So I think Washington back at home. I expect a rebound for them. And Oregon on the other side, I think they're a little bit in for a letdown because they've won their first 2 games to start Pac-12 play, but both have come at home, so they're going on the road here. And both were against 2 underwhelming teams in USC and UCLA, who have both been kind of disappointments this year from preseason expectations. So you kind of have to change your opinion a little bit on both USC and UCLA right now. And those wins for Oregon at home, still solid, but I don't think they're really that impressive. And I just think there's gonna be a little bit of letdown. This is Oregon's first road game since before Thanksgiving, which is notable because that's a long time, going in between playing on the road. And that one was against, a low-tier mid-major team. But this is their actually first true road test against a power conference opponent this year, which I think is very notable for this Oregon team because 2 of their best players and key contributors are freshmen. Jackson Shelstad, Kwame Evans, both been impressive. But I think for both those guys, just going on the road, just could see some struggles with this being their first real road test of the season. Oregon also just kind of lacks some depth on the wing. They're still dealing with some multiple injuries. Nate Biddle and Folly Dante. These guys have been out, and I think their depth on the wing is a little bit of an issue against Washington because they got a stud in Keon Brooks, who's a matchup nightmare. Scores 20 points per game. Been a really good cog there for Washington now for 2 years running, former Kentucky transfer. So I think Washington gets this home win, and then they cover this 4.5 spread. It's a higher total you can see here at 154.5, which I think just kind of helps, a favorite to cover, which I think is just going to be a little bit more higher scoring. So there's going to be more opportunities for Washington to stretch out a lead here at home.
Washington just going to continue to be Oregon's daddy, I see.
Yeah, for now. Yep.
From one UC to another. UC Santa Barbara taking on UC San Diego.
Yeah, this one's a little random. This one's a little random.
What do we got in this one? In the most random game you could possibly be betting on here. But you know what? I respect the degen nature of this bet here, Servo, because you are the only one betting UC Santa Barbara and UC San Diego. I bet you that.
Go Gauchos, as you can see in our YouTube chat there. Yeah, I mean, listen, the Santa Barbara Gauchos. It's a great mascot name.
It is what is a gaucho?
I think it refers to something with like Southern California, like the people there. I don't exactly know what a gaucho is, but well,
I like the hat.
I'll get back to you on that.
Is the picture that Adam has?
I think that's their logo.
Is that the logo? Is that also the mascot? Is he like he wears that hat around the arena? I'll sign up for that.
So a gaucho it's Spanish slang for an orphan or like a soldier. I guess it has different meanings. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, the Gauchos here. Give me them to win -5.5 here. I think so. This is another instance where I think kind of like Washington, they start out 0-2 in conference play. So has UC Santa Barbara. They're 0-2 to start out Big West play for them. I think they're coming in hungry just to get back on the get back in the win column. This is I think an interesting matchup because Santa Barbara is a team that likes to play quick. They're 80th in pace this season. But UC San Diego is a team that plays slow. They're 298th in pace right now. So I think they're going to have trouble matching Santa Barbara's up-tempo play here. It's notable that I think that Santa Barbara, this is their third home game in the past 7 games. They've been on the road a lot over the past month or so. So I think this is a nice return home with just having a couple home games lately. And I think they started out on the road in Big West play. They're back home here. Santa Barbara has a really good 2-man duo, stud duo. AJ Mitchell, really good guard. Could be in the NBA next year. Honestly, he's that good. And then they got Auburn transfer center Johan Traore, who's a beast down low, presents mismatches left and right. I think those two are going to really lead and guide Santa Barbara to this comfortable win here. Because I see San Diego. I think they're in for a little bit of letdown because they just won their first conference game last week, but now going on the road. On the road this year, they're 1-4 and 2-3 against the spread, but 1-4 straight up on the road. But overall in the past couple of years, Santa Barbara has been a team that's dominated this little in-state rivalry between UC San Diego, UC Santa Barbara. They've won 5 of the last 6 meetings between these teams since 2021. So give me the Gauchos to win here. A little off the radar bet for you tonight.
I like it. I definitely like San Diego's logo better, but we move on to. That's
from our producer, by the way. UC Santa Barbara adopted the Gauchos nickname in 1936 because of the 1927 movie The Gaucho. The name replaced the previous nickname, the Roadrunners, and was voted upon by the women of UCSB as a replacement. All right.
Roadrunners, terrible team names. I definitely approve of the change. I mean, not that a Gaucho is necessarily like any better, but definitely better than a Roadrunner.
Gaucho just sounds awesome. I mean,
yeah, it does. Yeah. No, I mean, dude, Roadrunner. I mean, you already have UC Santa Barbara. Like, that's too long to begin with, and then you go Roadrunner. No, you definitely have to go something a little cleaner.
That's a mouthful. Yeah,
that is. I respect that. Another pretty random one here, but as the college basketball expert, you are locked into every D1 school here. Green Bay, not the Packers, taking on Detroit, not the Tigers here, or the Detroit Tigers, Detroit Lions here. What do we got? What do we got here on the hardwood between Green Bay and Detroit?
All right, James, you're the NBA guy. Detroit Pistons, right?
Yep.
Well, the almost an historic losing streak.
No, it was.
It was an historic losing streak. Yep. Detroit Mercy. They're 0-15 to start the season. I think there was I forget the exact stat, but there was at one point where Detroit Mercy and Detroit Pistons, the combined losing streak was like one of the worst for same city teams in ever. But Detroit Mercy, they are still winless to start the season. Naturally, I have to go with Green Bay in this instance. Honestly, Detroit Mercy, they're a team that last year they had one of the prolific scorers, Antoine Davis, but he's gone. And this team is honestly one of the worst in D1 college hoops right now. It's tough when you look at their schedule when they might win a game. I mean, they might pull an upset. Could be tonight. This is a small spread, 2.5. But this is a team that's 0-4 to start Horizon League play, and they've lost all 4 games by double digits. Green Bay is not a great team, and they are in the lower tier of the Horizon League as well. But they should beat this bad Detroit team because Green Bay is just you can see the record, but they just have beaten a number of different teams that are better than Detroit this year. So this should be a win for them. Even though it's on the road for Green Bay. Green Bay is a team that tends to shoot a lot of threes. They got a legit star transfer, too, Noah Reynolds. He transferred from Wyoming. He's a guy that could be playing for Wisconsin, actually, because he originally committed to Wisconsin from the transfer portal, instead went to Green Bay. But he's a guy that could be playing for a power conference team. And having a guy like that, in a mid-major setting like this, is just like a true difference maker. When you're kind of looking for differences on either side of the ball. So, yeah, having Noah Reynolds is a big deal here for them. But Detroit, meanwhile, they've been without their top scorer, Jaden Stone over the past few games, and it's been a big loss. I mentioned they've lost these conference games by double digits. I think it's going to happen again tonight. So yeah, give me Green Bay on the road minus the 2.5. Just kind of banking on this Detroit losing streak continuing.
Do you find it weird? I know you talked about like Green Bay is not like they haven't beaten like many good teams, but is it weird to you? Is this just Detroit getting respect at home that it's just 2.5? Like they have not won a game and they're just 2.5-point dogs at is that a little weird to you?
I think that, and also I feel like sports books are saying like they're gonna win at some point, so we can't make this spread that huge because people are just gonna hammer Detroit if it was like a bigger spread. So I think that's probably the reason. Also, I mean, it is Green Bay again is not like a great team or anything, so that's maybe on a neutral court this is like a pretty even. Or Detroit, Green Bay is maybe favored by more. So like that going on the road probably has something to do with that as well. But yeah, it's just got to fade Detroit until they win. I mean, of course it's going to happen tonight, right? But who cares?
Right. Detroit's down bad, dude. I mean, the Pistons losing streak, the Mercy losing streak, the Lions losing that game this past. I mean, their sports. I mean, the Tigers are the Tigers, right? Like they're down bad right now in their sport.
At least the Lions, they're going to be in the playoffs. They got some good things going.
Can't trust the Red Wings, Adam Bernard said. I mean, dude, where's the light at the end of the tunnel? It has to be the Lions, right? It has to be. But, Dan Campbell can't figure out what to do with his gum, and he just puts it in his pocket. Like, that just spirals.
It's just really cold up in Detroit, too. Like, it's probably miserable.
Fair. It's definitely cold. Definitely freezing.
All right, so that's some college hoops tonight. If you want to play some DFS, by the way, I got the college basketball DFS playbook up on Fantasy Alarm. We also have the NBA DFS playbook up on Fantasy Alarm. I think, was it from you, James, that you put that up? Yep. So go check out James's breakdown for tonight's 2-game slate. And we got, plenty of stuff over at Fantasy Alarm with fantasy football for NFL Week 18 betting advice as well. Matchup report from our own Britt Flynn, who's been chiming in here on the chat. So stay tuned and check out all that. Let's wrap up today's show with some NHL talk and some picks from our producer Adam Bernard. We'll bring him in here. He's been talking behind the scenes about the Gauchos for us. Thanks for digging up the little history on the Gauchos nickname.
That's where my wife did her undergraduate work, and I gotta say, I don't know how she went to class because that campus is beautiful. Like, how do you go to class at UCSB? I have no idea.
I don't either. Yeah, I mean,
it's literally on the water. It's literally on the cliff of the ocean.
Every time I think about some of these schools that are like on the water, like whether it's in Florida, California, it's like I would do terrible there because I would rarely go to school.
Yeah, no, I've seen the campus and I'm like, kudos to you for making it to class all the time. But anyway.
Yeah, but conversely, like if it's really cold, right? Like I went to the University at Albany, like we had snow tunnels, like I don't want to go outside when it's cold. Like I would have to go in a tunnel to get to class. I don't want to.
That's true. That's true.
I'm not saying I did or didn't. Nope. In case my parents are watching, but
I think it's okay by now. I think it's all right by now.
I think so too. I think so as well. I'm just saying,
That's why you go somewhere in the middle. I went to Maryland and I still didn't go to class, but that's all right.
I went to class most of the time at SUNY New Paltz. Go Hawks. So, we'll see.
All right, Adam, hockey tonight. You got your first pick here for my Flyers, the Philadelphia Flyers against the Columbus Blue Jackets.
That's right. We got a little metropolitan matchup here, and Philadelphia is coming off a 5-game road trip, and they dropped their last 3, but they are coming home to a very beatable dumpster fire of a Blue Jackets team that has lost 2 in a row and 6 of their last 8. In both of their meetings this year, Philly covered the puck line easily. The Blue Jackets haven't given up less than 3 goals in a game since December 8th. So I really love this as a bounce back spot here and a get right spot for the Flyers. So I'll take them to cover the puck and a half at +130 at Caesars to beat the lowly Blue Jackets.
All right. Flyers puck line. Love it.
Yeah. Shocker there, Servo. Yeah,
listen, Listen, the
tip of
Eagles are
cap,
stuck in
little tip of
this
the-
losing streak.
True, that's true.
We
That's
need
true.
something in Philly. We never have any success in Philly.
Yeah,
But
never.
I mean, listen, I'm just trying to make the host happy here. You know, I'm just trying to
That's true.
butter Dan up a little bit.
That's true.
Oh, I see how it is.
Yeah, no, the Flyers tonight is a good way to go. Another one I like here. Let's head back to Minnesota. We attacked a wounded Wild the other night when the Flames were in town, so we're going to double down on that with the Lightning heading to St. Paul tonight. Tampa's a better team than Calgary and coming off a 4-2 loss. Gave you that as a winner on Monday as an under against Winnipeg. Tampa has been struggling to beat good teams, but they've shown over the last couple of months that they have no problem taking care of business against teams that you would consider below them. So I'll take the Lightning to win in regulation, plus 130, bet MGM. Good news for Minnesota is their next game is at Columbus, so that might be a good spot on Saturday to get some value in a road underdog. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, listen, Adam, you've been hot to start the year with these hockey picks because I mentioned earlier in the week you gave to me on New Year's Day the Winter Classic under, which cashed, and then on Tuesday's show, what you went 4-0 or 3-1?
4-0 on the show
4-0?
Tuesday, 1-1 last night. So
Ooh,
there you
spicy,
go.
Adam.
So we're keeping it rolling here. We're keeping it rolling.
We'll
all right,
keep rolling.
Preds and Calgary. You got to pick for this one.
I do, and we do need to keep rolling because the mechanic called while you were doing college basketball picks earlier. So we need these picks to keep going here. We need to keep the momentum going. We used the Flames to attack Minnesota the other night. Now it's time to where we pick against a very streaky Calgary team. When you look at the Western Conference, you know, the top three teams in each division are pretty established. The wild card picture is a little more wide open, but Nashville seems to kind of establish wild card teams. So I don't know where that's coming from. Let's get rid of that. But Nashville's a much better team than Calgary. They split their two meetings this season, but UC Saros, he's getting the start for the Predators tonight. He's coming off a shutout. When they've won 3 in a row here, and they've won 2 in a row. And when Nashville gets going, they tend to go on long winning streaks. So I think that might be happening again. And this is a good opponent to extend the good time. So I'll take the Predators minus 120 on the money line, bet MGM versus the Flimsy Flames.
Flimsy Flames. All right, in your last bet here, Winnipeg and San Jose.
A team we love to attack are the Sharks. They're just terrible. They have lost 9 in a row and have only lost by 2 goals less than 2 times during that streak. The Winnipeg, they're kicking off a 3-game road trip here, and they're going with their ace, Connor Hellebuck. They're on a 3-game winning streak, and they've won 6 of their last 8. So this is one of those situations where you just look at it and you just say, you know what? Give me the Jets minus a puck and a half at plus 105, bet MGM. You know, maybe it's because it's their first road game. I don't know. But I mean, this is an opponent that Winnipeg should have no problem taking care of business against. I know the Sharks had a little bit of a run there where they were playing better hockey, but they've kind of regressed back to what they really are.
All right. Some bets for the hockey night from our producer, Adam Bernard. Thank you, man.
Maybe these Jets can bring some joy to my life because certainly not the ones from the gridiron.
The other ones aren't.
You'll never get joy from that.
Yeah, I know.
Don't just accept that, please.
I'm 40 years old. I've accepted that I'm going to die without even seeing them play in a Super Bowl, let alone win one. So
that's probably fair. That's probably a fair assumption.
Acceptance is half the battle, right?
Yeah, it is.
More
Thanks,
hockey
Adam.
talk. Better hockey now over on the Bettor Sports Network as well.
That's right.
Adam hosts that show.
That's right. Another episode came out a couple days ago, so go check that out at the Bettor Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm YouTube pages with Anthony Rivera and Mr. Christopher Morez. Let them know that boneless wings are not wings.
They're not. I mean, we don't need to
go
down
a debate ongoing forever.
I mean, it's not actually a debate though. That's the issue. The issue is that Murray still thinks that it is a debate where it's not because boneless wings don't exist. They're just chicken nuggets.
Very well put.
I agree. I don't have a rebuttal because I agree.
I mean, I'm just seemingly everyone agrees except Chris and Dan Malin.
Wings. I mean,
yeah. Well, Dan Malin will come in with this Webster Dictionary BS every single time of, oh, well, it's this part of the chicken, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, nobody wants to hear this. They're just chicken nuggets. This opinion, keep it away. Keep it away. You and Chris, You go sit over here. The rest of us will eat our chicken nuggets.
Yeah. This has been a conversation raging for years now.
Long time.
All right, so that's about it for us. Thanks for everyone tuning in. If you missed any of today's show, gave out some NBA, some college basketball, and some NHL bets for Thursday night. Tomorrow we will have some NFL Week 18 bets, props, touchdown predictions from myself and Howard Bender. So tune back in then, 4 p.m. Eastern here on Bettor Sports Betting. James, good luck with your bets tonight with the Bucks and Warriors and Nuggets, Warriors, Bucks, Spurs. So and the Gauchos. Go Gauchos.
Go Gauchos. Go Gauchos. Hell yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys later. Good luck and take care.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports